Atlanta scored 6 points in a playoff quarter. They were down 47 at halftime. 83-36, the largest halftime lead in the history of the NBA playoffs. The previous record was 41. Cleveland set it in 2017. Indiana matched it 11 months ago. The Knicks broke them both by 6 points. Atlanta had won Game 2 by 1. They had won Game 3 by 1. They had Dyson Daniels, an all-defense argument, and a home elimination spot. By halftime, they had given up the biggest halftime margin in playoff history. This is the story of how a pressure defense surrendered a record inside 12 minutes. First quarter, Atlanta home, Game 6. Knicks 40, Hawks 30. A 10-point Knicks lead. 10 points sounds ordinary. In a playoff elimination game at home against a team built around perimeter pressure, 10 points is a warning. The league average first quarter in the playoffs is 28 points. Atlanta gave up 40. New York scored a quarter and a half worth of offense in 12 minutes. Here is what Atlanta got right. Dyson Daniels denied Jalen Brunson. The point of attack worked. Brunson did not have a clean first quarter. Here is what Atlanta got wrong. The Knicks did not need Brunson. OG Anunoby and Bridges started getting touches off the ball, corner relocations, weak side cuts, catch-and-shoot threes against late closeouts. Atlanta's scheme is a contract. The contract says, our best defender takes your best creator. The 4 players behind him close out and fill the corners. The first half of the contract worked. The second half did not. The closeout man arrived a beat late on every catch. The corner shooter had 2 feet of space. The weak side wing watched the ball instead of his man. Anunoby and Bridges did not need a play call. They needed an empty corner. Atlanta gave them one every third possession. A first quarter where you take the point guard away and still give up 40 is not a good first quarter for the defense. It is a first quarter where the defense was warned. The second unit did not read the warning. The second quarter is the reason this episode exists. Second quarter, same building, same scheme. Knicks 43, Hawks 6. 6 points in a playoff quarter at home in an elimination game. That is not a defense getting outplayed. That is a defense that has stopped being a defense. Halftime score, 83-36. 47 points, the largest halftime lead in the history of the NBA playoffs. The previous record was 41. Cleveland set it in 2017 against Boston. Indiana matched it 11 months ago against Cleveland. 2 records, 8 years apart. The Knicks broke them both by 6 points. 24 minutes of basketball. OG Anunoby and Bridges combined for 21 of 26 from the field, 80.8%. 80.8% is not a hot night. 80.8% is the shot profile Atlanta volunteered. Corner threes against late closeouts, cuts against ball watchers, transition catches against a back line in scramble mode. Here is the action that broke the game. Brunson at the top of the arc, Daniels in tight on-ball pressure, the Knicks center sets a high screen, Atlanta's defending big steps up to hedge. Anunoby is in the strong corner. Bridges is in the weak corner. Atlanta's wing defenders are both watching the hedge. Neither is watching their man. Brunson skips a cross-court pass to the weak side corner. Clean catch, no closeout. Bridges steps into the shot. Same action, different trigger man, repeat for 12 minutes. 6 points for the Hawks, 43 for the Knicks. Atlanta's pressure scheme is built on the bet that the backline will recover. In Game 6, the backline stopped recovering. The chalkboard wrote down a record that had stood since last June. OG Anunoby and Bridges, 21 of 26 combined, 80.8%. 2 wings against a defense built on perimeter pressure. 21 of 26 against any defense is a generational shooting line for a wing pair. 21 of 26 against a defense whose entire identity is on-ball pressure is a structural indictment. The Hawks' scheme needed the off-ball wings to be a non-factor. The 2 wings combined for the most efficient shooting performance of either team's playoff run. The shot menu is not a fluke. Corner threes against late closeouts, the highest percentage 3 in basketball. Transition catch and shoots against a defense in scramble mode. Layups in disguise. Off-ball cuts against a ball-watching weak side. Uncontested. Anunoby and Bridges took those shots all night because Atlanta gave them all night. A pressure defense without a recovery engine is a one-trick scheme. The single trick, pressure the primary, works in the regular season. The back line is fresh. The opposing wings are average. In a playoff elimination game against two top-tier movement shooters, the trick is a vulnerability. The Hawks scheme is a promise that says, we will take your point guard away. The Knicks' answer is, we have two wings who do not need a point guard. The promise broke. The record broke with it. Final score, New York 140, Atlanta 89, a 51-point final margin. Series, Knicks 4, Hawks 2. The Knicks advanced to the Eastern semifinals after losing Game 2 and Game 3 by 1 point each. So here is the question the data is forcing. Was Game 6 a blowout that found its own size, or was it a structural lesson? The honest steelman sounds like this. Blowouts happen. Anunoby and Bridges are not 80% shooters. The variance evened out. The team with the better roster won. The 47-point halftime is a curiosity, not a structural failure. That is the book Atlanta will sell to its locker room before next season starts. On its own terms, it is reasonable. The problem is that variance does not produce 6 points in a playoff quarter at home in an elimination game. Variance produces 18 in a bad quarter, 22 in a worst case. 6 is the floor of a defense that has stopped picking up assignments. The 21 of 26 is not unsustainable shooting. It is the shot profile Atlanta volunteered. Corner threes against late closeouts, cuts against ball watchers, transition catches against a scrambling back line. Take away any one of those three categories and the combined line is 12 of 26. Atlanta is in the game. The chalkboard is not asking the Hawks to be lucky. It is asking the Hawks to rotate. They did not. That is structural, not statistical. So here is the verdict. Atlanta had two jobs in Game 6. Job 1, pressure the ball. Job 2, rotate behind the pressure. They did the first job for 48 minutes. They stopped doing the second job after the first quarter. The Knicks did not invent a new offense. They ran the same off-ball menu twice, once to start the second quarter, once to end the first half. They built a 47-point lead because the second action was never tracked. 3 failures. Failure 1 is pressure and recover. Daniels denied Brunson. Nobody recovered behind him. Failure 2 is corner fill. The weak side wings watched the hedge. The corner was open every time. Failure 3 is transition communication. Scramble mode needs the loudest defender on the floor. Atlanta played 12 minutes of silence. 3 failures, 1 quarter, 1 playoff record that had stood for 11 months and is now the second largest halftime lead in NBA playoff history. The Knicks advance to the Eastern semifinals. The team that wins the next round has to ask the question Atlanta failed. Who tracks Anunoby on the weak side? Who fills the corner when he relocates? The chalkboard is already drawing up the round 2 answer. We will see who reads it. Next episode of Chalk Tactics, we go inside the Western Conference's most surprising first-round result and ask whether what just happened to a number 1 seed was variance or scheme. Until then,